Hello, welcome to Directly to You, episode 247, one of the final episodes you'll ever hear, ever. Not actually. I'm AJ. I'm joined by Parker. We're Redirect, and our podcast is changing. I explained it the first time, at least this part. You explained it this time, so we changed it up for everybody that's not in here. And that's something that I didn't even mention in the Patreon thing, is that people can listen to this live. But also, that's because they kind of can't, because we're about to talk about.
Yeah. Which also you'll hear us mentioning things that refer to the fact that we just recorded probably about 30 minutes or so of the podcast. And then internet happened. And then I was like, oh, let me pause it on my side. And then I accidentally yeeted everything and couldn't take it back. So we're starting again. But on the plus side, we'll get to that. Here's the thing is that we talked about last time, but we're going to talk about now, is the podcast is going away. Mm-hmm. Ish. It's going away as a weekly. Exactly. Yeah. It's going away as a weekly podcast in a couple episodes. So this is 247. We're going to go through 250. And then after that, podcast is going to, at least for a while or something, we'll see what it looks like, is going to be once in a blue moon, or like when stuff happens kind of a podcast. And as opposed to like a regular fixed schedule thing. Basically, the whole reason for this, most of it in any case, is that I have limited time as a father, full-time job, all those kinds of things. And so all of the time that I could give to Redirect stuff was going to directly to you, basically. So it was just really hard to find time to make videos. So this allows to be able to pivot to that instead. And being able to make videos again, and then, do the podcast whenever it makes sense, but grow the channel and all that kind of stuff. And then ideally, as we grow the channel and, therefore get more viewership and can like get sponsors and stuff, then that frees up more leeway in terms of like income and all that to be able to also maybe do both down the road. Mm-hmm. So, but for right now, that is hard to do. So that's why we're pivoting basically. So it should be a good thing, all things considered. We have a podcast where we went way more in depth on it on our Patreon. So if you want to check out our Patreon, that's available to all the tiers. You can also like subscribe on Twitch or YouTube membership and all that kind of stuff. All those transfer over to be able to listen to the Patreon podcast, which will keep going. That's a monthly podcast instead of a weekly one. So we'll keep doing that. And yeah, anything that I missed, AJ?
We're going to shift around some other Patreon stuff in the segue to this to make Patreon better. Yeah, mostly, and make more sense for what it is now, because part of Patreon was structured around the fact that we had directly to you, and now we will not in the same way, at least. So some of that will change. There'll be stuff that's added, stuff that's moved around, that sort of stuff. If you want to help make directly to you a normal thing that we can do in the future, check out the Patreon. Check out all the other stuff that Parker mentioned, and now we can get to the show, which
that's right.
We pivoted, we changed it. You'll never hear the main topic that we did before as a main topic, because we're still going to talk about it. But we're not talking about it as a main topic because we got a new main topic: Summer Games Fest versus E3. Which one's better?
That's right. We like just barely started talking about this, and we're like, oh, this should have been the main topic, maybe. and then it all yeeted, and we're like, oh, well, here we go. Perfect opportunity. So that, and then, we'll talk about the other stuff later. But yeah, Summer Games Fest, that happened. It's done now. This is technically its second year as what it is, sort of. And E3 hasn't been around for several years now. So like, what's better, what's worse?
It just took 1 year off, and then it was coming back and then it wasn't coming back. It was just going to be a digital event, and then I'll be back next year, and it's not back. It'll be a digital event. It's not a digital event. We're canceling it. It's dead forever.
It's definitely dead forever for what it's worth.
I thought it was definitely dead forever the first time it was dead. Yeah. And then people insisted that it's like, and this is another part of it that I guess is less front facing, but people were so convinced. I've had multiple arguments with like industry people that I know that we're friends with, of them being like, it is it's impossible to be able to run the game industry without E3. People don't get to form relationships. How are we going to be able to talk in person? You can't, people don't care as much. E3 is everything. And then we didn't have E3. And this year we're not having E3, and all of those things happened. All of them happened, and they're still happening, it turns out. But as far as the consumer facing side with the events and stuff like that, what do we think about Summer Game Fest from this year? Was it good? Was it bad? Are you happy that you had it? Would you prefer that they didn't?
So here's what I'll say. I watched very little of it, just because, at this point, mostly still focused Nintendo stuff. And without there being a specific Nintendo thing, there's just a little less incentive to do that. So there's that. But I'll say from other years, having watched the other showcases and stuff like that, there was one year that I took off the whole week for E3 to watch the whole thing and watch the Nintendo Direct and then watch the Bethesda conference and the Xbox conference and all that kind of stuff. And frankly, several of those were like, well, that was there and existed. So from just the digital outsider perspective, because I think there's multiple facets to this that we'll get to, but just from the somebody sitting on their couch at home and getting to watch it or whatever, I think this to me felt like basically more or less E3 minus Nintendo Direct and minus the just show floor stuff, to some degree, which
they did have the show floor stuff.
Okay,
it wasn't open to the public, I don't think.
But I guess I mean just the videos of we played this Game Explained going and playing this demo or something like that. Was there that kind of stuff for other companies? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention then.
It just wasn't. I mean, it's not E3, so it wasn't as big as E3.
Of course, yeah.
But I know multiple people firsthand that went to this event. And Alex Van Aken, Alex Van Aken, right? He went to the event.
Yeah.
Kevin Kenton, he went to the event. We should. I mean, I didn't know we were going to do this, but we should have.
That's true. Xeon went. I could have asked him. Yeah. Oh well.
But yeah, no, he went. And yeah, they had the whole show floor experience. They played games behind closed door stuff. All that good old dear fun jazz. And I saw a couple of places that did similar, the IGN still did their thing where, they had their streams where they do the pre and post shows what's going to happen. And then they did demos of certain games and, that sort of stuff. So it was more or less just E3, but if Nintendo didn't go that year.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean, and the thing is I think honestly, E3 kind of was, when it went public, was probably starting to, knock on death's door kind of a thing.
I mean, just the fact that they felt the need to go public was
also true.
Signs of death.
Yeah. So I think, it's one of those things where just knocking it all the way down, starting from scratch, seeing what's sustainable in this industry with these companies and stuff like that, was important. And so if E3 had done that themselves, then, that would be one thing. But also E3, I mean, the ESA sucks and stuff, right? ESA?
Yes. Yeah.
Yup. So this at least Jeff Keighley seems like a fine enough guy, as far as people are concerned that head up things. And so it's one of those things where obviously he's not as he's a corporate kind of guy. So but he feels like
kind of guy, but he's also somebody that gets it because he comes from this world of coverage.
True. Yeah.
So I mean, knock on wood, I don't think that he would something might happen like that, the E3 thing that makes me hate them. But I don't think that he would brush it off in the same way.
You're right,
yeah. Because stuff happens. Yeah. I think that less so that happened is the issue that most people that have some sort of issue with it have. It's more so their attitude towards the fact that it happened. We're
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man. Sometimes
But we're
you
the
just
ESA,
store
so, like, no big
people's
deal.
personal information in a non-encrypted folder. Happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Jeff Keighley would way easier be able to be like, oh, I also was a journalist. This could have happened to me. You
Right.
know?
Yeah. It seems like he. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say in the same way, like he knows what people want for that same reason, because this was his beat. So it's like he knows what he would have found to be exciting and would have wanted to cover, and how he, what he liked and didn't like about the experience of covering games and all that stuff.
Yep. It feels like he and Phil Spencer and some others are kind of cut from the same cloth in that, like, you know, they're a little bit like more man of the people or that kind of a thing, which, you know, sometimes comes back to bite you. But so far, at least, seems like all right enough, you know, and that like throughout the Game Awards that it's like responded to feedback from people that like there's too much of this, there's not enough of that kind of a thing, where it's like it's got to make its money, but it's figuring out how to do it in a way that's still enjoyable for people and all that kind of stuff. So I think Summer Games Fest, I mean, he even I think said something today or recently or whatever, that, you know, it's going to come back next year even bigger and all that kind of stuff, which I do wonder. So I listened to the Kit and Krista podcast, the like first 30 minutes of the most recent episode earlier today. And they talked about that all the like Nintendo studio or not studio heads, but like the you know, people that were their bosses and their bosses, that kind of stuff,
like the executives,
were at Summer Games Fest, seemingly like scoping it out, you know, because they're pretty hesitant to get into anything,
right?
So it, you know, seems like they were fine to be in E3 for a while. Now, obviously, even when E3 was going to happen, they weren't going to be going there anymore. And obviously, also Nintendo Directs are huge, so they don't need Summer Games Fest by any means. But it seems like if there's at least some interest to see, like, would it be mutually beneficial for us to be here for this reason or that reason? And so I'd be curious to see if, in coming years, maybe not next year, maybe the year after or something, if Nintendo takes part as well. And then this honestly becomes just better E3, and not just better because of like, you can't always control what announcements happen every year. You know, like that's some showcases are just going to be worse, and that's just what it is. But better as in better run, and like better for the journalists that go there, and therefore better stuff comes out of it. I don't know. Lots of thoughts.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know how you facilitate something like this, but I wish that it wasn't like it didn't pick up where E3 left off, in the sense that it's still it just brings back the same problem that E3 did, you know, where we have like the Capcom stuff, right? Like obviously they didn't have nothing to announce. I don't know why they had a presentation to announce what they did. That could have been an email, as the old adage is. Right. But you know, like it would be way cooler. But again, the way that the industry works, it would be like if it ever happens, it's decades away from now. If there was some way to like at least clue in Jeff Keighley on like, okay, here's our dev cycle of like, these are when we're going to have marquee releases and have stuff to announce on these years. And then he scheduled, okay, well, this dev would be exciting for people, this dev, and this dev.
Yeah,
so there's 4 like tentpole showcases that happen that year, and it might be Xbox, it might be PlayStation, it might be Bethesda, it might be, you know, not always like at this year's Xbox, at this year's Ubisoft, at this year, you know, because most years, any number of those companies, usually all, but maybe one, have, you know, mid events that nobody cares about. And it's like it's this weird like Sonic cycle effect, ironically enough, aside from the fact that the Sonic cycle thing is actually on an upswing right now, because their game looked cool at Summer Games Fest. But like, people think in their head that they like E3, and then E3 happens, and it's like most of E3 is mid.
And this wasn't as good as the other year's E3s, but you can't say that every year.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, that happened here where there's people being
for sure.
like, I miss E3. I wish E3 was back, because E3 would have never had bad events like the Ubisoft and the Capcom presentation, where like even those two companies specifically already had a reputation for having mid presentations regularly. So it's like branding is powerful. I get that. I get that people like they have this elevated view of what E3 is, because there's decades of history of like there being like sporadically really cool moments there, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
And all that stuff just gets molded into one big giant ball of hype. Where in reality, most of E3 was disappointment.
Yeah.
And part of that is gamers' fault. Because I don't think that like Summer Game Fest will change that. You know, I think most of Summer Game Fest, if what your expectation is that it's going to like tell you every game that you're going to love for the next 5 years of your life or whatever, right? All at once, you're going to be disappointed. Summer Games Fest is going to be the same thing for you. But I think like once like I don't know, game release literacy increases amongst people, and they understand like the stuff that we're always talking about, where it's like, oh, this CG trailer, so that probably means this game doesn't exist and it won't be out for the next 5 years. Or like, okay, like this trailer looked cool, but where's the gameplay? And you know, like all this stuff that is just, you know, old hat for people that are like covering it or like super into it, you know. Maybe that will help change the way that we talk about and expect things from these sorts of events. But
yeah,
I don't know. I
think the other thing, an easy fix in theory would be like by the time the Capcom and Ubisoft showcases happened, any new announcements that they had kind of had already happened in other people's showcases.
Yeah. Yes.
So like just at least make other showcases shorter to accommodate that or something, you know, like
just don't bring that thing. I know.
Yeah,
that,
right.
Like,
Yeah.
That was like literally something that I said during Capcom's, because they showed that I still don't even know what that game is. The game that it like looks like it's like Onimusha, like that.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
They could have just not brought that to Microsoft's thing.
Yes,
and that would have been a pretty cool announcement. You know, I mean, it was still like, it's still cool that, I mean, the game still exists, and they're like, but they literally showed the same exact trailer.
Yep.
So like, why should I care about this? And sure, their expectation is like, oh, maybe people didn't all watch
see it
the
more
Xbox
times.
One.
Yeah.
Like, then why even put it in there in the first place? And also, why have it be a part of this event that like the whole reason why gamers say they want this thing is so that they can, you know, watch all of it. You know, it's video game Christmas. I get to watch all the presentations. So expect people to watch all of them and structure your presentation with that in mind.
Yep. Yeah. I feel like they're just, for this to be the thing that it wants to be, there kind of has to be a heavy hand from the top that's structuring it more so, you know, and like maybe there's not the ability to do that just yet because it was like rolling the dice whether these companies would be involved in the first place.
Yeah, right.
You know, and so maybe there's that. But I think in future years, as there's more legitimacy or whatever, I think Jeff Keighley could very well be like, hey, I would love for you to be, I would love for you to be in this, but like, we want Summer Games Fest to represent you well. We want you to represent Summer Games Fest well. So we're going to like make these rules where like you can only have one game show up in like other places that's also in there, or some, you know, whatever the rules end up being.
Like they could just straight up say, if this game is in another presentation, you can't include
that it's not in yours. Yeah,
exactly. You have a certain, like if they're going to put a number to something, you have X amount of CG trailers that you're allowed to show. I doubt that this would be a thing because Sony would just not show up. But like, you need this percentage of your show to have a date, you know, like that.
I mean,
sort
the
of stuff.
other thing like that in a world where Nintendo also joins Summer Games Fest and you have Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft there, you could so easily every year have 4 showcases. Summer Games Fest showcase, well, 5, I guess, PC games and stuff, or like indie, you know, some other ones too. But as far as like publisher type things, that you have Summer Games Fest, that's kind of a catch-all for whatever, Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo, and that all the games that are coming out on a platform. So pick the platform that you want to be associated with for this show, and that will associate with you for that show. And then just that's everything, you know, and then it's like short and sweet in some ways. And then again, you know, have like indie presentations or other kind of catch-all sorts of things that kind of can show, you know, cream of the crop sorts of things. But it's just not beneficial for Capcom to be showing like you know, I can't even remember what all.
Like the Ghost Trick.
Yeah, right, exactly.
For the 5th time
again, right.
Like them showing like Exoprimal, and I mean, for what it's worth, Capcom has been doing that a lot anyway. Like we see Street Fighter 6 at everything they do. Everything they do, and it's a good game.
Yeah,
the game is fun, but I don't need to see it anymore. You know, I own it. It's on my Xbox. I could turn it on and play it right now. And if there's no new information, I don't need to see it. I don't. Promise you, I don't.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, it would be great if they fix some of those kinds of things. But all in all, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I'd love to see Nintendo show up in future years. And also, like, in an ideal world, here's the things that I'd want from Nintendo specifically is Nintendo Direct kind of thing, because that's always fun. Treehouse is always a nice time, and they still are doing them in some ways. But doing them, the E3 Treehouse was always just a nice time because it was just, you know, like more content than the like, all right, we're going to do one Treehouse for this one game, blah, blah, blah. It was just a nice time to get to, the vibes were good, you know? So that kind of stuff. And then, yeah, again, if there's demos that are on the show floor that can be recorded and, you know, people see, like we've seen in other years, that's fun too. Also, that one's the like lowest priority for me to be able to see from it. Like, I'm fine just hearing people say, yeah, I played it. Fun time. You know, that's fine.
Yeah. So. I agree with that stuff. I do still have like reservations about like requiring stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
I
think
it does impact the dev cycle where it's like, gotta have our Summer Game Fest build ready, you know?
Right. That's, I definitely care about that stuff less because you can, I mean, Treehouse is easier to do some of that with because you can just also pick and choose what games you do that with, like only do it with games that's like, well, it's coming out in 2 months anyway. So like it's done, you know?
Right.
Easy enough to demo
their
at that
credit,
point.
That's usually what they did. It was usually like, this game is coming out in a month. Here's us playing it, you know, like that sort of stuff. And I mean, sometimes they would do games that were like further out, but they could also control how much of their coverage is about that thing. Yeah. Rather than trying to plan a 3-day show on one big announcement that's 2 years away.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of all that, speaking of Nintendo Direct is in the news a lot recently. And for what it's worth, beginning of the year, I'm pretty sure I'm on record for predicting that they would not, that at the end of June, or like, I think I probably said end of June, that they would do probably just a third party something or other. And I kind of am still sticking to that. I think that's just a likely thing, but it feels like the reason, again, same as last year, that they did it further away is just like to not be associated with Summer Games Fest, so that Summer Games Fest can't be like, that was us too. It's like, no, it's done.
they're part of us in spirit, you know?
Yeah, right.
We said we weren't going to do it, we're not doing it. But I mean, also, like, I don't know. We're just in the time frame of the Switch's life cycle, Also, we just don't know. We just literally don't know. Because for all we know, Nintendo could like have a Nintendo Direct, and they they have another 2023 worth of video games next year. You know, like we have insane releases next year because we're not on the inside. We're just like going off of the vibe of like, man, it's been a while since I learned about a new video game. But that was also the case the year where they had no Nintendo Directs at all. You know, like. So I don't know. Like it would be cool to see if what they're planning and what their next few months are going to look like after Pikmin. But at the same time, it's like I don't know. I just at this point I think that the Switch life cycle has earned them a little bit of faith. You know, where it's like if the Switch life cycle is going like nearing its end, that they're going to be able to like segue that. In a healthier way than we're used to. And if it's not, we're going to have more games to look forward to. Because at the end of the day, it's like, we want new games to look forward to. That's a mutual feeling. They want more games for us to look forward to because that means more money for them, you know? Like,
and whether that's on...
not announce anything.
Right. And whether that's on this platform or the next one, like, there's going to be more games as a result. Like,
exactly.
You know. Yep. Sometimes they might even tweet out old games that are coming out, like how Fire Emblem is coming out. Okay, here's the headline that I put in the doc is Nintendo loves dropping the NSO news during the podcast.
It's true.
Which is
they do.
I mean, technically, this was like I pulled it right before the podcast, and then Alec put it in.
Yeah, Alec put it in
while we were going. So thank you, Alec. But yeah, so Fire Emblem is coming to Game Boy. Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance is coming to NSO expansion pack. June 23rd. So that's next week. I have not played that one.
That's Too Many Games week, which by the way, I'm going to be at Too Many Games. If you're in the greater Philadelphia area, freaking come through, hang out with me. And Bob's going to be there, and I freaking Wood and Scootish and you know. All the people that's in the gang that usually see us with that Too Many Games, going to be at Too Many Games. Also, for us specifically within our community, I think You's going to be there, so you can meet her.
Nice,
cool.
Also on this front, just as an aside, Alec, you would probably know this. Did we already know? Okay, yes, it looks like. Did we already know Fire Emblem was coming?
I think Didn't they?
Okay.
I think that was part of the initial.
Yeah, that feels right. Okay, Alex said yes, so yes. And I'm looking at the website now. The thing is, they could have updated the website. I was like, maybe, but yeah.
Where's Pokemon Stadium 2? So I can know that game is also bad.
We got Kirby and the Amazing Mirror still coming to. It is kind of crazy how I just was thinking about this the other day. Like, we're 7 years into the Switch life cycle. New hardware is probably somewhere on the horizon. And we're just now getting certain Nintendo 64 games that were on the Wii at launch, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the Virtual Console was at launch. Am I wrong?
I don't know if N64 games were available in the Virtual Console at launch. I could be wrong about that, though.
I'm looking it up, but regardless, at least really early. Look, sure enough. No, wait, hang on. N64. Somewhere looks like, for example, just Super Mario 64. And then they kind of were adding them little by little throughout the next couple of years. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's just all things considered, it makes sense the way they rolled it all out and all that stuff. But just like thinking of it retrospectively, that it's just funny that it took this long to get a bunch of these games with the next console coming. Like, that's just a funny thing.
I think that, like, for me at least, it just frames in my head how they feel about those things and like how important they actually are. Because if they actually had the impact that people talk about them like they have, they would be there sooner, I promise you. Because again, just like I said about the game releases thing, like, they want people to be excited about these things and want to play these things and engage with these things, but obviously they don't feel like as many people are going to engage with them in this way. Otherwise, they would be a much bigger priority.
Yep. It's true. So yeah, that's coming in so next week.
You want to play it?
I'm not going to play it now, and I may never get around to playing it, but we'll see. I'm playing the good old Breath of the Wild 2. So, well, you know what you're going to do. I actually, it's funny. Yeah, there are too many games. I mean, yeah, TM, but there's a bunch of games coming out. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do when Pikmin comes out, because I want to play that, but also like I'm still going to be playing Tears of the Kingdom for sure. We're not even into hold the phone.
We're not.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
We're not back to that. So let's do this. Mario movie 2 news is
Mario
the topic
2.
that we talked about a lot already. So we're going to talk about it, but less. Is my opinion.
Mario himself. Said that we're going to get Mario movie news after the strike is done, which like people are reporting on that like that's going to happen soon, and we don't know that. We don't know because there's no movement there at all.
And also the thing that we realized, headline to then reading the actual quote, is that. So just skipping to that part of the quote, when the negotiations have been completed and the writers feel comfortable moving forward, then it'll be time to start talking about what's next for that. Which like, we were like, I mean, maybe that means we'll talk about it publicly, like, and let you know, or it's just like, all right, then we'll start figuring out the next movie behind the scenes. So
then I'll get to sign my contract and negotiate for more money this time. That's what he actually means. He doesn't mean like, what he means. And they're going to announce the Nintendo movie or the freaking Super Nintendo Mario movie 2, Doki Doki, on a Nintendo Direct near you. We might get a Deadline article, and that's about it.
Yep. But yeah, still, Mario movie 2. It would be a good old time. I'm curious to see kind of how it goes.
I hear Yoshi's going to be in it. Spoilers.
Yeah, that's so. Always funny that Yoshi is the like sequel guy, and so sure enough, doing that here. But then also, I don't know, just story wise, like obviously they're leading into like Mario Galaxy stuff eventually. I'm guessing that's probably like the third movie probably in the trilogy that they do Mario Galaxy stuff, and this next one is like, I don't know, maybe I just had a thought.
What if they do Sunshine?
Oh, that would be interesting. I was going to say, what if they do Odyssey and they have the ship and stuff like that?
Yeah. I feel like Odyssey, they could do Odyssey. But I feel like if they were going to do Odyssey, they would have did. Yeah. Sorry, keep going. I felt like they would have did it immediately.
Yes, right, exactly.
Because like recency bias and that stuff. But like I think that once the second movie rolls around, we're too far away from it, and we're not far away enough for it to be like a nostalgic thing. So like calling back to it is kind of weird, unless we're also still in the position where like the newest Mario game to promote for them to be like, we made a new Mario movie is Odyssey, then maybe they lean into Odyssey more,
or Odyssey 2 or something. But yeah, I feel like, I mean, honestly, Alex said Yoshi's Island, and that, like, I mean, I could see that, just like lean hard into the Yoshi as a plot point, because like we did see, I mean, spoilers for the movie a little bit, there was a scene where you saw some Yoshis running past, and that was a neat little thing. But it does seem like, the way they did the little post-credit scene, and there's a little Yoshi egg there, which again, spoilers, but now you know. I could see Yoshi being like a focal point as opposed to just
a Easter egg,
a steed. A Yoshi, a Easter egg. What a goof. So I don't know, it's interesting stuff. But and also the news that it's the 18th biggest movie of all time at the box offices, and that's neat.
So many monies. Whoever would have thought.
Yeah.
Mario movie made monies, man. Nobody
That's
thought.
right. No. And then, the last little bit that we talked about a bunch too was Zelda movie Illumination, blah, blah, blah. We talked about it a little bit last week, and then we talked about it more earlier, and then we'll say the following about it. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
It'll be fine. It'll probably be great. Could be your favorite movie ever. You know?
Honestly. Yep.
A lot of things are made by people that you would have never guessed. It turns out. Turns out. People know how to make movies, man.
That's right. And I think the biggest takeaway that you'd kind of said too is that it's not Illumination that's at the helm. Like they're the people making the movie, but it's Nintendo that's steering the ship. Yeah, and I think
just because of that, hired hand. They're like, yo, you guys know how to computer animate. Computer animate this.
That's right. So and they're, and I was saying too, Illumination's trying to impress Nintendo, so they're going to do a good job. And even if that means that they end up doing a different art style or whatever, then they'll just do it and it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. That's the 2 cents. But even while we can't watch Zelda, we can look at him and do little cutscenes in Tears of the Kingdom, which at least one of us is playing. Maybe
I'm playing it.
Nice. Two of us is playing it.
There's so much to play. One of the things I can't talk about, but I'm having fun playing it. So you'll hear about it eventually.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
But Tears of the Kingdom. Let's do your checkpoint. Where you at? How you doing?
That's right. I'm doing more putzing, just putzing. But I am starting. I'm gearing up towards my second temple. It's the fire temple. So I'm doing that, and I bothered to.
I did Rito, and then I did Zora. I did.
Okay.
I did the fire one third.
Okay. It seems like most people are doing a similar kind of doing Gerudo last, which is just an interesting thing that we are all
did Gerudo
doing that
third.
Oh, okay. Oh. Well, now you know. But it's I finally made the little fan bike thing that I've seen people on Twitter make, and man, what a little efficient thing I'm not using it because I'm in the depths right now, and it's a nice, just convenient little machine for getting around down there. So that's that. What else? Yeah, honestly, just going around doing stuff. I'm trying to. It's tough being on Twitter right now because everybody, more and more people are like, all right, I'll finally finish it now, and getting more bold with the kinds of things they say about it. And even if they're not super spoiling it, some people are saying a little more than I'd want to hear. And so, that's just.
I think part of it is also weird. Because so much of what was cool about Breath of the Wild was people just as far as mechanical stuff, spoiling everything.
Yeah,
you can do this thing and that's sick. And then I feel like most people embrace that. We're like, yo, that's dope. Mm-hmm. But now with Tears of the Kingdom, I think that it's that energy is kind of not really there. It's I want to figure it out. Discover it.
And I care less about that now, thankfully, but definitely on story stuff that I'm hey, shut up, don't do it.
Yeah, that's weird. I have no desire to do that at all. I mean, even with streaming it, I was
but you're right though, for what it's worth. Yeah,
I didn't really want to stream the story specific stuff, and even now, where it's I thought that I was closer to fighting Ganon than I am. So I'm still doing that sort of stuff because I just don't want to fight Ganon. I don't care about doing end gamey kind of stuff. So I'm gonna do that, but I also just don't really want to do it on stream. I'm still recording it and all that. But streaming it just I don't want to spoil anybody.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. Yeah. So it does make me wonder too. Do I want to? Because I think knowing. Having the knowledge that I do, I would be perfectly fine because I did it with Breath of the Wild. By the time I finally went around to beating Ganon, I was like, well, I'm just going to play more of the game anyway. And so there's part of me that wonders should I try to beat the spoilers basically by just going ahead and doing more of the storyline and then coming back and playing the rest of the game that way. But I don't know. It's hard.
That's kind of what I did. Where it's like that's why I beat the temples in the way that I did. I mean, I still did a lot of like messing around, but not nearly as much as I'm going to do.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. I think that it kind of like, I mean, I'm still having fun and had fun with the game. But I do think that it's probably more fun to not do that and just play it the way you want to play it.
Yeah. So. It's just like every time I see something on Twitter that like, I would love to not see that, but that's all right. Like even just like certain kind of enemies that I just haven't run into yet. And then seeing those, like it would have been way more fun to just like the first time. I mean, these show up like immediately in the game. But Horriblins, the upside down guys. Yeah, again, they show up in like the first cave that you go in, basically, if you're, hanging around. And that was just a fun thing to be like, oh, I didn't know there was other kinds of enemies in here, and here they are, and that's fun. And so then there's at least one other kind of enemy that I saw stuff about. I was like, man, I didn't know about that. And it would have been a little bit more fun to just stumble on it and be like, what's going on? But
yeah, I feel conflicted on that because like I mean I did that. I posted an enemy. I was like, what the heck is that? A few times. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. The video doesn't open with it. And the thing is like, what is this? Yeah. So like, if you don't want to know what it is, like, don't look at it.
It's less of like, I'm not upset by anybody posting any of the things because like post whatever you want, like that's totally fine. I'm just upset with me seeing it. Yeah. Like it's just true that people are getting a little bit more bold with stuff because rightfully so. The game's been out longer. I just spoiled the post-credit scene of the Super Mario Bros. Movie because I just assume everybody's seen it at this point.
The movie's out and made $1.4 billion or whatever.
Yeah. So you can assume. And the time investment in that is 2 hours instead of, or, an hour and a half instead of
I was
whatever.
Not even. Instead of 140.
Yes. So we'll see. Yeah, at this pace, it's going to be a while. I mean, again, though, it is crazy how this game like has seeped into just finding time in my life. Kind of like I suspected it would, but I played it 60 hours or more, it says. And I was like struggling to find time to like, man, I've got to finish playing Live Alive, and that was played 35 hours to beat all of that. And by the end I was kind of like taking my time with it, but Alex said played Tears of the Kingdom for about 50 Mario movies. That's great. I love that. So yeah, I don't know. But all that to say, still having just a fantastic time and stumbling into things and curious about what all happens, and we'll see.
Nice.
It's nice.
I mean, I did a thing in Tears of the Kingdom that I'm not going to talk about, but I was playing it, and me and Youth were in Discord, and she was like watching me do the thing, and she was like, I would never should be able to do that. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's not even that hard. But I play video games. What it is. She doesn't play video games. So fair.
Is the thing a mechanical thing or like beating a certain enemy kind of a thing?
Beating a certain enemy sort of thing. Which is, I mean, cool. Kind of both, I guess. But yeah, no, I mean, I didn't think it was that crazy.
Yeah.
It was just,
for what it's worth, I ran into an ice thingy. And I got pretty close on my first try to beating it. And I was pretty proud of that, especially because I had like 5 hearts.
I just didn't try. And I saw that and I was like, nope. And then the second time I hit it and it didn't do any damage, and it's because I didn't hit it right. I know now. That was like, okay, well, I could have definitely beat that thing if I knew that specific aspect of it, but
yep.
Nah.
I also did a thing earlier. I had a little, Zonai car thing that I built, and it had a fire hydrant on the front of it for reasons. And long story short, things happened. I not really soft locked myself, but until I was able to, travel somewhere else, soft lock myself inside the car where I was crouched down, so I couldn't like climb on anything, and I couldn't uncrouch, and I couldn't hit anything to break something. I just could crouch and spin around a little circle. And I was like, well, here we are. And, eventually just had to teleport away and then come back. And of course my car was gone, but was able to, recreate it with the parts that were still there. But that was a sad little time to have done that. But yeah, there's just lots of little things. It's fun, and I like it.
There's so much I still got to do, but there's so much that I'm doing and playing.
Yeah.
Also, I made a video.
Yes, this is true. Yeah.
We're going to talk about it. Patreon podcast, and we do it.
That's true. And that game's coming out sooner than you'd believe, in 2 weeks.
It's true.
It's kind of nuts.
It's true.
Yeah, go watch that video.
Go watch it. The response to the video did surprise me. I am surprised by that. Because I thought more people were going to be like, I even say it in a video where it's like, I thought more people were going to be like, what the heck? Anyways. But yeah, no, I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom. I'm doing stuff still, but I'm playing other games and that, which like I like. There's been like multiple modes of like how I play games this year. Specifically, and not even just this year, in the last 365 days, where it's like it's fun, like when a game like this or before this, Scarlet and Violet come out, where it's like I just want to play that, and I play those like an absurd amount, and then there's other times like this where there's like a lot of stuff that I want to play, and I play a little bit of everything on certain days, and some days I just play this thing, and then I just play that, and then it's cool. There's a lot of stuff to play, which is also why it's like I don't get this like sentiment of like the Switch is dead, right? Because all I ever want to do is play my Switch for the most part. One game that I'm playing that's not on my Switch, like, I can talk about this, is I'm playing Street Fighter still. That game is laggy, bro. That game be lagging, and I don't understand it.
But it has dedicated servers and the online
rollback net code. It's not allowed.
That's the one.
It's impossible to lag with rollback net code, but I'd be lagging, and it's gross. But it's a fun game, but like when I'm playing the game and I'm like trying to learn the game, that makes it even worse. And when I lose because somebody realized that it's lagging and they abuse the fact that it's lagging, it's like
that's lame. Yeah.
And
I guess every character can kind of do that now, as opposed to like in Smash, it feels like there's some characters that really benefit from it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure that there's certain characters in this game that do it worse, but I don't understand the game enough to even care about that. It feels the same universally to me. Because I, again, don't understand the game that much. Or I do, but I don't. I understand it in the, like top-down kind of, like, fighter game kind of way. But, like, the nitty-gritty of, like, Street Fighter of, like, what's safe on block and, like, that sort of crap. But, yeah, I'm playing that. Kimberly's still dope. Game's fun. Nice. I'm getting better at the game. I'm right outside of silver. Just like, meh, but I'm getting there. And part of that is also the amount of time that I end up playing it. Because, like, every time I play it, I, like, rise up in the rank, but then I have, like, an annoying match where something lags crazy, and I'm like, all right, I'm turning this game off. And that slows my progress a lot. But, yeah, outside of that, I'm playing Smash. I did the tournament. I got top 8. That was cool. Nice. Outside of that, yesterday I was playing Smash with Mars, because Mars is like trying to like get better on Smashbox. It's like a fighter stick, but it's all buttons. You've probably seen Bob talk about or use one of those things before.
Yes.
And I was using that excuse to be like, well, I can't like play normally here. Like it's like a higher level version of what I'm always talking about when I play against like friends and family that don't play the video game. But he's still good at the game, and he still like mostly does similar things. It's just like does them differently, or like does certain things more than he usually would, and like to substitute for, you know. So I was like, first I was like, I'm just going to use this as an excuse to like just use Squirtle. But then eventually I came to the point where, and I don't know what made me want to do it specifically, but I was using Mega Man, who I used in Smash 4.
Interesting.
So I know how to use the character.
Yeah.
And also I use Mega Man a little bit to help Mega Man, the human, learn how to play the video game. But like, there's just certain things that like I didn't know, even when I played Mega Man in Smash 4, that I know now, and I knew then when I was like you can move with the leaf shield. I didn't know that you could move with the leaf shield. That was like a freaking stagnant thing. But my Mega Man goes crazy. My Mega Man's kind of messed up. But yeah, I was having fun with that. And
are you considering adding him into your rotation?
It happens so much. It happened with Wolf, happened with Sephiroth, happened with Aegis. There's just like a lot of characters that I'm like pretty good with, but they don't. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Mega Man does nothing for me that the characters that I already play don't already do in theory. So it just doesn't really make sense. It would have to be like a thing where like it's like a really good matchup for Mega Man, and or I'm fighting somebody that just doesn't know how to fight Mega Man. That I would be all right, I'm gonna use them. But outside of that, it just makes my life harder, you know, because like my Mega Man's good, but it's not nearly as comfortable as my other two characters. So like I would be like the whole point of me picking up another character more than PT and Min Min would be that I want to try less. I want to think less. I don't want to think more. And I think if I use somebody like Mega Man, and to a lesser extent Wolf, I would have to think more. I don't want to think more. So Mega Man would just be a character I pull out randomly for fun, like Sephiroth. And people would be like, what the heck, where did this come from? I didn't know you had a Mega Man. But Mega Man go kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. What else am I playing? Oh, I'm playing something I can't talk about.
That's right.
I think that's it. I think that's all I'm playing.
The last thing I'm playing is not a Switch game at all. It is not even really a game, but just a fun little thing that maybe if anybody else thinks this is neat, go for it. It's Habitica. My friend Mitch told me about it, and it's basically just like a little tracker of like if you want to be better at having good habits and better at getting rid of bad habits and stuff like that, that it gamifies like to-do list kinds of things, but mostly like just, you know, putting things on there where it's like, I want to do this, and you like level up, and you so like here, that's the little thing. You can't see the details about it because whatever, but yeah, exactly. But yeah, just like put on things of like I'm eating better, and I'm doing 25 push-ups a day now, and like trying and like getting out of bed at like I need to get out of bed earlier than I do, but I just don't have any reason to oftentimes. Like I have to work, but if my first meeting's not till 9, then like what's the difference between me getting up at 7:30 or 8:30 or something like that, you know? So now if I don't get before 7:30, then I take a little bit of damage at the end of the day, and I don't want to do that. So I should get up by 7:30. And so, yeah, it's just a neat little thing, and you can party up with other people and stuff. So I'm in a party with my friend Mitch and friend Chad. And so we like beat monsters together, and one of them, you get to pick a class when you get to level 10 or something, and I'm not there yet, but one's a mage and one's a warrior, and I'm going to be something. So I don't know, just a fun little thing. So if anybody's interested in that, you can check it out. Habitica is like habit, ICA. So yeah, a nice little time for just improving your life a little bit.
Nice.
And you know what improves our life? Q&A. Questions from you guys that we get to answer and just have a dandy old time. M. Skelton asked, favorite game / most likely to get and enjoy that was announced this week. AJ clearly loved Starfield.
Oh my God. So I streamed the Xbox presentation.
Yeah. And which we didn't really talk about that presentation too much, but yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll talk about a Patreon podcast. That's a
true. Yeah.
podcast thing. But that It was fine. I mean, I thought actually that presentation was really good. For the most part. Starfield though, don't care. I don't care even a little bit. And I think a lot of that is like what we've talked about before with like open world games in general, in the sense that like Arceus, like in the throes of it, when you're playing through Arceus, it's very cool if you like Pokemon, right? But if you don't like Pokemon, it kind of like fast tracks you to the end point. Where it's like, man, what do you even do in this? That's how I feel about Starfield. I feel like I'm Bob and I'm playing Arceus. I'm what is the point? Why do I care? Like, yeah, I can go to all these planets, but why? And the why, I guess, is because it's cool. You can go to the planets. I don't think it's cool. I don't care about going to the planets. So that whole thing, like, I knew going into it that I probably wasn't going to watch the whole thing, because there was a lot of stuff that in theory I wanted to do. I wanted to watch that presentation. I wanted to play Tears of the Kingdom so I could build my house, and then I went into it was a Smash tournament. And so I was like, I already wasn't going to watch this, but I was like 10, 20 minutes in, not even, I was probably like 10 minutes into that presentation. I was like, I don't care. I'm going to press the on button on my Switch, and if my switcher switches the input from the Xbox to Tears of the Kingdom, we're done here. And it did. So I turned it off, and I don't care. I saw the fallout from the internet being like, it's 30 frames per second. How dare that? Yeah. The Xbox is. Do you even have a processor?
Yeah, right.
It's stupid. Like that's another thing that's annoying, because it's like it puts me in the like same situation that I was in with Brilliant Diamond, where it's like I feel compelled to like defend this because like the argument against it is stupid. Right. But I also hate the game for an unrelated reason. Like,
I mean, which honestly maybe validates your point even further, is like, I don't care about this game, but it's fine that it's 30 seconds. Like, as someone who just isn't defending it because I am not going to play it, it's fine. Like, yeah, man. Yeah, honestly, I didn't watch. I don't remember what I was doing when the Xbox thing was happening, but I was doing something, and just kind of like read over the highlights and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll talk about Fable.
That. You're gonna play Fable.
I mean, I did watch that
Fable
trailer after the fact, and that's a neat little
thing.
Game. Yeah, I'll find out more about that when it comes out. But as far as the game I'm most likely to get and enjoy, I mean, probably Prince of Persia, I'd guess.
Yeah, I think in the immediate future, same here. I mean, Prince of Persia and also the Sonic. Yeah. Sonic game too.
I mean, for what it's worth, I have never gotten into a Sonic game, period. So maybe this is the one that I give it a shot with. Maybe.
I don't know if it's worth. I mean, unless that's the game that we play when you're able to go on stream.
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's the cool part about it, is that it's multiplayer. And
it's funny though, because there's things about like what I know, the benefit of Sonic is that I do like in other games. But there's also like, there's a weird thing. Okay. So I like other games where I have to optimize stuff. So like Lonely Mountain Downhill. I'm not saying that in the right order. It's over there. Lonely, whatever. That game. I think it is Lonely Mountain Downhill. In any case, it's you're riding a bike and you're just going down the thing. I like played the same levels over and over again to get like a good time that I felt good about and like was nice and smooth and enjoyed, getting to the end of it and all that. Because it was the only thing you were supposed to do in that context. There weren't like secrets to find or whatever, other than shortcuts that just go towards the goal of doing it faster and all that. I think my brain has a really hard time with Sonic specifically in the couple of times I've tried it. So like I haven't gone in since trying to think that way, but the fact that it has that as the main thing is that speed is the reward, not the like thing, and that optimizing the level and all that is like an important thing, but it also kind of has a little bit of exploration also. And the exploration like the two just feel at odds in the times that I've played it for me. Because like,
I think it depends on what format it is. Like the 2D Sonic games, I would argue they don't really have exploration. Like they do in the like in the sense that like it can feel like you're exploring to figure out the other routes, but the other routes exist to optimize. They don't exist to be like, see what's here. You know, it's like that's why they usually feel bad to play.
Kind of collectibles, right? Right.
Not really. Not in the 2D games.
Gotcha.
Like there's rings you could like, but like to get all the rings, you would have to go like you would have to backtrack. You know,
right? Yeah, and like does it give you points for like you got 75 rings? Like, good job. Is there that kind of thing?
Yes, but like in a Mario game kind of way. Where like the score doesn't like, really matter. yeah, exactly. So like yes, and like a super like broad, like if you're being extra literal about it, there's exploration, I guess, but not really. You know, the 3D Sonic games, I think. That's more debatable. Like Sonic Adventure, I would say that there's more exploration there. Still less than you would like expect from a game that like markets itself as like you can explore in this game. Because even those, the goal is optimization. So it's like you explore to find the right answer, not explore to find something that looks cool or whatever, right? So like, yeah, I get that. I think that also might be why it's at odds with you, because like you're playing the game like you want to see everything that there is to see, but a lot of what there is to see by design feels bad. So it's like it's not a reward to be like, man, I saw this bottom route and it felt like garbage to play, and it's like it's because that was their way of saying you fell down here, feel pain. You know?
For what it's worth, I'm downloading Sonic Mania off of your profile right now so that we can. I mean, I can find out with the. Yeah, that's what I assumed from what I've heard. So this will be the true test. If this one, with like making myself think about it more like Lonely Mountain Downhill, or even just like speed running a thing to a degree, then we'll see how that goes. But yeah, to the question itself, I think probably Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown was the most excited, and even then, probably not like super high up there. Again, and and a lot of things from the Xbox conference, there were some cool things there, but they're so far out that I'm just like there's not really on my radar, to be honest. Yeah. And even though I have an Xbox, I don't think about it that often. So I think I would just have to, once Tears of the Kingdom is done, maybe I'll have brain space for a big game like Fable and stuff, or Avowed or whatever. Like I remember, seeing those the first time around and being like, that's neat.
Yeah. They have a decent amount of like high fantasy, like I was talking about during the stream. That's like the three things that Xbox does. It's like they do it's Space Marine guy, it's high fantasy Lord of the Rings wannabe, and it's shooter. Like that's usually like the Xbox genres, and there's like stuff that's in between that. There's Hi-Fi Rush, and, like, they do other stuff, which is why I even pay attention.
Forza or whatever.
Also, Forza 2. That's another genre, but that's just that's the game. That's one.
It's the one. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really care about that stuff. That's why every time I'm watching Xbox, I'm like, "Where's Banjo?" I'm like freaking holding them at gunpoint, because like, what are y'all doing, bro? It's crazy.
It's true.
But yeah, no. I thought the Xbox thing was cool, and I think that there's a decent amount of games that you would like. But
True. Next question. Alec asked, is potato salad a salad? Is chicken salad? Is Jell-O salad? Sincerely, confused in the Midwest. Refoods.
I have never heard of Jell-O salad a day in my life. That sounds like...
I think I've heard of it.
That sounds like You know what it sounds like.
Yes. I think it's where there's Jell-O. Honestly, I'm pretty sure The Simpsons introduced me to this concept because I don't think I've ever seen it in real life, but I'm pretty sure it's Jell-O with things suspended in the Jell-O, like broccoli and stuff.
So, yep, my suspicion is correct.
So gross.
My suspicion is correct if that is the case.
Broccoli's great, but in Jell-O, Jell-O at all? No, thank you.
That's crazy. It's not what Jell-O is made for. Oh,
yeah.
Freaking. Anyways, no. I mean, maybe. I guess it depends. It depends on the ratio.
What?
How many vegetables are in this potato salad, or chicken salad, or Jell-O salad? I guess. I'm just gonna say Jell-O salad is not allowed. It's an abomination.
Yeah. Because I think it has to like be able to be in. I mean, unless I'm just like dramatically misunderstanding Jell-O salad and my Simpsons brain picture is doing its own thing, then no. Because like I feel like it has to be things that can be in a bowl where it's multiple different things. I don't know. Honestly, how do you define it? Because like
I think I see the reason why I know what you're talking about after you described it is because it's in Rugrats. They do that was in Rugrats too.
Yeah.
So like that further confirms my theory. Yeah, so that's cursed. I didn't know that actually existed. I thought that was just a thing that's like, hey, look at this.
Just in Rugrats? Yeah.
Looks gross, doesn't it? You know? Like, I thought that's what that was. Man. I thought it was like gruel, like gruel gel food kind of stuff.
I'm going to look up Jell-O salad and see if
there's like a real picture that's not like a Binging with Babish kind of like creation.
Yeah. I mean, I think seems like there's multiple options, but one of them at least is definitely it's like bundt cake shaped Jell-O.
Yeah.
And it looks okay. I think I was wrong. Hopefully I was wrong about the broccoli kind of thing. I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's mostly like sweet with other, like fruit kinds of things in it or something like that. But the textures, no, like Jell-O, no. That's all I have to say about that. To the question though, are those things salad? Is chicken salad like chicken salad? No, I'll say that straight up. Because
I think it depends on the ratio. It's like
but like, how are you using it? Because
thing.
Like
that's what it's like melt versus grilled cheese. Like how much cheese is in it?
Yeah,
if there's enough cheese where it looks like a Kraft commercial, it's grilled cheese.
Yeah. Even if you put also some ham in there or something like that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But
I think the thing for me, chicken salad is like a fillet. I almost exclusively would eat it in a sandwich kind of a context, like in a croissant or something like that, to where it feels more like, I don't know.
But even that, so okay, well, I guess this is the same thing because they also do that with like tuna melts, tuna subs, tuna etc. etc. It's tuna salad sandwich basically, and that's more tuna than the salad components. And also in a sandwich is like if you're putting in a sandwich, I don't think any kind of salad is a salad in a sandwich. It becomes a sandwich at that point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because like. You can like literally like any other thing that any reasonable person would call a salad. If it was just that in a bowl, they will call it a salad. But if you put that between bread and then maybe like one piece of meat or something, like I guess, like which even that I think that's up for debate. Whether you even need to include that. That becomes a sandwich. It's not a salad anymore.
Yeah, I mean you can just have a vegetables like Ashley sometimes will make just like cucumbers, tomatoes, like that kind of stuff on tasty bread, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's a vegetable sandwich.
Exactly. So I think that's more the part of this problem is that people make sandwiches, and I think a lot of times where these things even show up is in sandwich form. So it has more that association with it than it being like just in a bowl, So it's it's almost like freaking. Like just taking the components of a sandwich out and putting it in a bowl. It feels like rather than it being its own isolated thing.
Yep. I think I would say chicken salad. No, not a salad. It's you can call it that if you want, but it's its own thing. Is potato salad and egg salad. Those are the two that I'd accept them in the salad context, but obviously if you say salad, there's no way that that's going to be like, oh, are you talking like lettuce salad or like potato salad or egg salad? It's like there are the fringes of it.
Granted, I don't know. Maybe I just seen different kinds of like chicken salad, but chicken salad feels like to me like macaroni
more like a side
salad
kind of thing,
like macaroni salad, and the way that like that can mean so many different things visually. Like the ratio to salad and macaroni can vary wildly.
Yes.
So I think that like just assuming that chicken salad has the same level of variety, that like I think it depends on what those ratios are.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. So inconclusive, but Jello salad
it shouldn't exist.
Yes, to the depths of hell. Mark 11.5, I should say, asked, if you could only eat the meat of one animal, which would you choose? You can also still eat any non-meat food. I mean,
chicken, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'd say, like, there's more versatility in some ways from pork, kind of.
Pork's gross.
But
I think every time I eat pork, I feel gross.
Yeah, I don't necessarily experience that, but I mean, because but at the same time, I think I would rather just make the healthier choice for one thing. I mean, and just choose chicken. And there's a lot of versatility with chicken. The only
exception to that is like pepperoni. But like if it's like a freaking pork chops or something like that, it's like a slab
pulled pork,
like a slab of meat, and it's pork. It just feels heavy.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I'm hungry now. That's a mistake. One of my things in Habitica is I did this a while ago and it was successful then, and it's just been a while to get back to it. But just like not eating up till a certain time of the day, and then just like at some point being like, all right, I'm done eating for the day, and not like snacking after that, because like your body is metabolism, blah, 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 insulin things, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just like after 8 p.m., I'm just not going to eat anymore, which is reasonable, all things considered. But then there's this, and then I'm hungry. So that's the real reason the podcast isn't happening anymore. So you guys can't ask me food questions at 10:35.
True. I mean, I guess they can still ask you food questions when we do the Patreon podcast.
That's see no evil, hear no evil, taste no evil at that point. But yeah, I think, to your question, Mark, for me, I'd say probably, chicken. Probably.
Chicken, yeah.
Honestly, if turkey were all that it was cracked up to be, then in theory, it's so bad. It's more versatile than a lot of, because ground turkey's kind of like ground beef.
That's the thing. Turkey in the framing of like lunch meat and like Thanksgiving turkey, terrible. But like ground turkey, even like turkey bacon, even though I'm not huge on bacon.
Yeah.
But turkey, if I'm gonna eat bacon, it's turkey bacon. So like turkey as like a substitute for something else is fine. But turkey as turkey, where it's like the turkey is like, I'm being myself, man. I'm letting my quality shine through. Terrible.
Yeah, agreed. Let asked, will Pikmin ever be as big as Miyamoto wants it to be?
No. Absolutely not. He wants it to be Mario. It will never be Mario.
Yeah. I mean, is there a chance that he doesn't, that it's just a thing that he loves and he knows it's never, it's like, this one's just for me.
I think he wants it to be Mario. Like, I think like Olimar's name tells me that he wants it to be Mario.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
that
funny,
like he's been quoted as saying as much. Like, not even that he wants it to be Mario, but like, this is the next Mario, you know? So I don't know. But I mean, Pikmin's cool. I like it, but
Yeah.
I don't even know how you have the Breath of the Wild moment with Pikmin. Cause like Zelda, it was there, you know, like I could see it. I could see them making a game that the masses would like if they made a game for the masses and not just for the nerds. And then they did it, and here we are. But like, I think Pikmin by design is like for the nerds, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to make it more approach. I mean, it's a strategy game. Like, strategy is just not.
I was going to say we should like make a video about that, but we kind of already do that already anyway. Like, that's already kind of our like, we don't say that. Like, that's not like the tagline where it's like, how do you make this game like for the masses? How do you take a franchise and but it just ends up us like trying to do that anyway, because usually the games that we are like the most passionate about are that, you know, the Breath of the Wilds of whatever the franchise is.
True.
So that's probably already going to happen.
Yeah, I do. I think, next video after this one probably will be Pikmin related, since that game's coming out not too long. But yeah, I think honestly, I don't think Pikmin 4, I think it'll be the best selling in the franchise. I think especially because of the vouchers and there not being anything on the horizon that people know about, I think it could crack 5 million, maybe. I don't know. But even then,
I don't know. I don't put a lot of stake in that, in the last part of that specifically. I don't think that many people actually do that. Like, people talk. I mean, like in my video, people put a lot of stake in the idea that people are just ravenous for something. Where it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna play, so I'm gonna throw $60 at this. Where in reality, if people don't want a thing, they're not gonna buy it. You know, like the Wii U came out and people weren't like, there's no other Nintendo console, I guess I'm buying that. You know, it's like people just didn't buy it. So like, I don't know, like sure that there's definitely like a contingent of people that do that, but I don't think that group of people is big enough to turn a game that would sell 3 million into a game that would sell 5.
Right. Yeah.
But I do think that there's a lot of like word of mouth and like fervor around the idea of Pikmin 4, because we got Pikmin 3 and that previously was the best selling Pikmin game. And then it's like, what happened to Pikmin 4? You know, it kind of has like the Fallout 4 effect where like Fallout 3 kind of became this big thing like in the background after years and years of people being like, oh, man, Fallout 3 is really good, and then Fallout 4 came out and it sold freaking 15 million copies because of that. But even that, I think it will be like a smaller effect. Like, it won't be like Fallout. If anything is going to be like Fallout in that regard, it will be Metroid.
100%.
But I don't think Pikmin has that big of a fan base that's doing that for it to be that big of a base. So I would guess like 3 million.
Yeah, for sure. I think if it cracks 3 million, then that's like huge success. So we'll see. Last question. Lucia asked, what did the room of your dreams look like as a child? Did any of it make the cut in adulthood? I am very excited about this question. AJ, you go first. If you had
I feel like I did this in reverse.
Okay, interesting.
Because like, I don't care about that kind of stuff. Like, my room is where I sleep. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really care about making it look any particular way. But when I was a kid, my mom was big on that kind of stuff, and I like stuff. So I'm like, yo, you want to do decorating? I like Sonic the Hedgehog. I like Spider-Man. I like Pokemon. Let's make it happen. And then I had my blue room. I had my freaking Spider-Man decoration. I had my Pokemon stuff. I had my Sonic bedspread. And there it was. But now it's like I just don't have any specific aspirations for that. If anything, the stuff that I want to do with like my spaces as for work purposes, so that it looks cooler for you guys, I don't really care personally.
Makes sense.
Well, what about you?
When I was a kid, I had a trampoline and I loved my trampoline. So here's the room of my dreams. I still have a vivid picture in my mind of it. The floor was either one giant trampoline or multiple trampolines. I don't know. Probably just one giant trampoline. The walls were all Velcro so that I could wear a Velcro suit and jump really high on the trampoline. And also, this just for context, the room is like, I don't know, 30 feet high or something, and 20 feet across or whatever. So it's like very, very high room. And that, I'd jump on the trampoline and be able to Velcro onto the wall. And if I wanted to just sleep on the wall, just Velcroed on up there. And then there were just little bits and pieces of other things of a zip line sort of a something, or all that part's more foggy in my memory of what I thought it was, but definitely trampoline floor, Velcro walls. And then this is, I think this went away at some point, but at least was an idea at one point, was when we were kids, we'd play spider with my dad, was what he called it, where he would just lay on the bed, pretending to be asleep. I don't know why it was called spider in retrospect, because I don't know. He was the spider. I don't know. And so my sister and I would creep up and then get close to him.
He was the spider or you were the spider?
I don't know. I kind of always thought he was, but
because if he was sleeping, who tries to sneak up on a sleeping spider?
That is a great question. And 6-year-old me would have some kind of answer for you. But in any case, he would be able to pretend to be asleep. And then, just we'd come up crawling, and then he'd tickle us or whatever. And that was a great old time. One time so again, we were living in France at the time. He'd come back to the States every once in a while, maybe a couple times a year, once every couple of years, something like that. And to visit family, but then also meetings or something. I don't know. And then bring back some things like root beer and whatnot. And one time I was 5. Root beer is delicious. Get that across your brains. I was positive for absolutely no reason that he had come back with the official spider kit, that it was like ropes, like a rope spider web that was going to be mounted up above my parents' bed. Kind of on the bed, but angled up onto the wall as well. And I don't know why I thought that. I'm sure there was absolutely no words that tried to insinuate that at all, but I really thought it. And I was kind of disappointed when he didn't have that. And so, I think that also made it into the cut of what my trampoline Velcro room was going to be like. And to answer your question, yes, my room is exactly like that now. And I sleep in a spider web of ropes and whatnot. In other words, no. So there it is. That's that. What on earth is going on with that emote? The reaction.
A
super reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's how passionate I am.
Wow. How do I do a super reaction?
If you were in, you gotta have nitro. You're not passionate enough. If you were a patron or a Twitch subscriber or a YouTube member, you could see that reaction. But
that's true.
Yeah.
And there it is. That's the podcast, y'all. We did it. We said some words. We got a couple more of the regulars in here. Just remember that we love you and we're here for you. But the podcast will not be for much longer, at least not as it is currently. But it'll keep up. And when Nintendo Directs happen and stuff, I don't think we mentioned this in this one, but we mentioned it the first time we talked about it. But also, if a Nintendo Direct happens on a Tuesday, we'll record probably that night talking about it and then put it up the next day, as opposed to having to wait till Saturday and then not really wanting to hear our opinions anymore because you've already heard everybody else's or something like that. So there should be some benefit to that as well. So it'll be a nice little time.
Sounds good. Do all the stuff, like, comment, subscribe, still like the podcast. Because, hey, what if the podcast, like, blows up with the next 3 episodes and then it's making money and then we gotta do it? You know?
That's right.
Check out the Patreon. Tell your friends about the main channel and the very likely situation that doesn't happen. Have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.
That's right. Bye.